I don't know why I'm so nervous, but hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title of the video, I'm officially moving to Los Angeles. For some context, I'm moving my best friend Evie. Here's some pictures of her. We started planning our move in February and it's currently July, so we've been planning, talking, visiting Los Angeles back and forth to look for apartments for the past 3 to 4 months. It's officially July now and my lease for this current apartment ends in 2 weeks, so that's why I'm gonna pack up everything and move. She starts school there and I'm still gonna be doing what I'm doing, which is reselling over there in Los Angeles and also probably getting another job. We don't know yet, we'll see. Since we're both currently in Houston right now, before we went to Los Angeles to look at apartments, we spent like a couple weeks looking on Zillow, apartments.com. We even spent time while we were in Los Angeles driving around different areas that we like, calling phone numbers, just looking at different apartments. And let me tell you, apartment hunting in Los Angeles is no joke. I kind of found this apartment in Houston off of a whim, but I don't feel like apartment hunting in Houston is definitely as hard as in Los Angeles. I don't know, we had our expectations of how hard it would be, but we didn't realize like until we got there. Of course, we initially started out the apartment hunt with a budget of $2,400, which we didn't think would be that bad because that'd be $1,200 each. But then we didn't think about utilities, internet, trash, water, sewage, like all that really adds up, I guess. And we still wanted a lot of different things too, because obviously we don't want to be stuck in like a cheap apartment with shitty conditions. So some of our requirements were having an in-unit washer and dryer, just because I wash and sell thrifted clothes for a living. I definitely need that. Preferably no carpet, just because I feel like that's harder to clean. Parking was also a big deal for us because if you know, Los Angeles is mostly just street parking. And so we wanted a spot that would have a garage or whatever extra fee we would have to pay for parking. Just because we're both girls, we don't want to be walking alone from our apartment to the car. I leave a lot of stuff in my car for markets. I'm scared about it getting broken into. I hate parallel parking, just like all these reasons. So those were our requirements. Under like that $2,200 range budget, have a parking spot, in-unit washer and dryer, no carpet. Location was really whatever, you know, we can drive. I really like in my heart wanted an apartment with some like vintage touches to it, just because I feel like a majority of apartments in Los Angeles have a lot of cute little like vintage kitchen, vintage whatever. Obviously that's not a priority, like it doesn't matter how it looks as long as we have a roof over our head. So yeah, let's get started with the apartment hunt in the video. This was the very first apartment that my friend and I looked at, and if we could get an apartment just off of vibes alone, I would have definitely went with this one. I thought it was so cute. It was in the perfect area. It's in Silver Lake, which is like where all the trendy cool people are, and all the furniture was like remodeled. Everything was really new. The space was tiny, but they did a really good job adding like new hardware into the room and just making it very cutesy and cozy. I like all the gold details. Obviously the space is very small for 2 people, though. I would technically be living in the living room, and the living room was right outside of the doors. I just didn't feel like that would be good for safety and space wise. We didn't end up going with this one, but I thought everything about it was beautiful. And since we were already in the area, the realtors decided to show us another apartment. This one didn't have an in-unit washer and dryer, and it's a little bit out of budget. The kitchen layout was also just kind of funky. I guess they didn't account for how much space that fridge would take up. Even though this apartment was technically bigger, it was up several flights of stairs and there was no elevator to get there, so it would be really hard for me to carry all my stuff up, especially with my inventory and my wagon. Also, neither of these apartments came with a parking space. It would just be street parking, which is a big deal breaker for us. The next apartment that we went to go see was actually having an open house the same day that we were there, so there was a lot of people inside already. In terms of location and aesthetics, I definitely thought this one was the cutest. It was nearby a lot of grocery stores, and this one had a lot of cute little vintage touches I really appreciate, and what I would imagine of like an old LA apartment. I really like the checkered floors and all the storage space. My friend and I just felt like that it was a little bit out of our budget, and the building was kind of old, so we were worried about maintaining it, all the problems that could come along. There were a lot of appliances that looked like they needed fixing or replacing, and there was no maintenance person on site, so we were a little bit concerned about that. The lighting was really beautiful though, and I can imagine someone else living here that would be happy with staying home and enjoying the views and location a lot. I also felt like the application for this place would be a little bit more competitive because so many people were interested, and obviously because of the way it looks and the location, a lot of people would sign up for it. Overall, I feel like this place would have been a great option for someone with a bigger budget and someone that appreciated the vintage touches in the apartment. Also, the parking was really funky and you would have to manually close and open the gate every time, which is something we definitely didn't want to do. The next apartment that we went to go see was definitely the biggest and most traditional out of all of them. They had about 400 units and what I imagined a traditional apartment complex to look like. I liked how there was a leasing office on site and maintenance people, so there's always a reliable person that you could call if something were to go wrong. Also, in terms of space, this one was definitely one of the biggest at 700 square feet. They didn't have the actual unit available to show us, so they gave us the showroom instead, which I didn't really mind, but I do prefer seeing the actual unit. I thought the showroom had a good layout. I like how the kitchen was in the front, so even if I were to live in the living room, I don't feel like it would have been as much of an invasive situation like the first apartment, where the living room was right in the front. This one also did have an in-unit washer and dryer. The apartment is really talking a lot about the amenities, which were great, but we didn't really care for it as much, so this was a no for us. Hi guys, we're currently in the middle of apartment hunting in Los Angeles. It's day 2. We viewed about like 4 to 5 already. All of them have their own individual issues though, so we're gonna try to look for more and see if we can find the perfect unit by the end of the trip, which is I'm currently in the middle of walking to get some food before we go to our next apartments. This area is super pretty though. I think this is in Los Feliz, so way out of our budget, but all the homes here are super beautiful and the area is really walkable, which I do appreciate. All the other apartments that we were looking at, I don't think the areas were as walkable. Then that's a big downside for me because Houston's not that walkable, so I was hoping to have a more walkable apartment here, but it's okay. Honestly, I don't really remember much about this apartment. I don't think it was that remarkable. It was very clean, it was very modern, it had good views and pretty spacious. It was pretty average for a 1 bedroom at 2,200, which I come to find out. So if someone was looking to spend a little bit more and worried about space and having a patio, I feel like this would have been a very solid option for them. For us, I just feel like it was still a little too tight and there's nothing that really stood out about it that made us make or break. And obviously it was a little bit above our budget considering utilities. This next apartment that we went to go see was already booked out by the time we had gotten in, but the guy still wanted to show us in case we were interested in a similar unit. This exact apartment is exactly what I would have if I was a 25-year-old male manipulator, take you back to your bachelor pad apartment with the concrete walls, industrial ceilings, New York City type of vibe. I would make you fall in love with me and never talk to you again. That's the exact vibe of the apartment that I was getting, and I loved every single second of it. Obviously, it was out of budget and already booked out, but I thought it was still cool to look at. Obviously, you can see we're in completely different outfits because this was the last day of the trip. We were supposed to make it a fun day, but we decided to look around for apartments the old-fashioned way. We went around to a bunch of different neighborhoods that we liked and just started calling the phone numbers or walking into the leasing office if there was someone there. This was the only one that was actually promising, though. It was another 2 bedroom and one of the only other 2 bedrooms that we saw throughout the whole entire tour. It was really cute, and the property manager was really nice. He lived in the same apartment unit, so I felt really safe with him there, and I thought he would always be very reliable. He seemed to know a lot of the residents, which I really appreciate. I just thought the apartment was a little old and there was some problems. I feel like it would be perfect for someone else who didn't mind buying their own refrigerator or having older appliances. It was definitely the biggest in terms of space, and the sunlight was really good. It's just there was no AC in any of the rooms either, and it already felt super hot in the rooms just given the layout of the apartment, so I didn't really feel like it would be a good fit for us. I like how the bathroom is outside in the middle though, so it'd be good for people who were sharing. Also, I felt like the kitchen was a little bit small and cramped. The rent did include 2 parking spaces with it, which is super rare, and a storage space, which I really did appreciate. But since there was no laundry and unit and no AC, ultimately those were the deal breakers for us, just because I feel like I'd be really uncomfortable living there. It was still a really good option though. As you guys just saw, we toured a lot of apartments in Los Angeles during our time there. None of the ones in the video were actually the one we ended up going with. I didn't want to include the one we ended up going with for safety reasons and all the other reasons, of course, but it just gives you a good idea of like the different areas that are available, the price range and stuff like that. And I also wanted to give you guys some insight from my experience if you're looking to rent an apartment in Los Angeles or any major city really. The biggest takeaway that I have from this whole experience is that number one, it shouldn't be as hard as it is, but more importantly, the best apartments are never listed online. We spent about a week and like 50 plus hours looking at apartments on apartments.com, Zillow, wasting all of our searches, like looking through every single option available, only to actually go look at 3 of them in real life. And then the rest of the time we spent by manually calling phone numbers or going into the office as we were driving past a specific area. And it shouldn't be this hard, but I know a lot of apartment complexes in Los Angeles like to keep themselves more low key. Probably because they're already booked out or so that's more accessible to people who live in that specific area. But whatever the case may be, I would say don't waste as much time looking online and just try to hit the ground running. Obviously have a plan of like what areas you want to look for. There are more affordable areas in Los Angeles like San Gabriel, I believe, and Pasadena. I could be wrong though, so I'm gonna make a list right here of the affordable areas. I remember them when we were looking, but I don't exactly remember at this moment. Also, I feel like apartment hunting, like boyfriend hunting or job hunting, it's really easy to compromise on what you want, but it's important to have non-negotiables that you know you can't walk away without. A lot of the apartments that we were looking at would have like carpet, or they wouldn't have an in-unit washer and dryer. And I was considering those even if they didn't have the in-unit washer and dryer, because I was like, okay, maybe I can live without that. But then I remembered my job is literally washing clothes. And even if I saved a little bit of money on not having an in-unit washer and dryer, I would end up spending that money anyways, going to the laundromat, walking every day. My clothes feel dirty because they're like going to the outside and then going inside. So that wouldn't have worked out anyways. And obviously I'm not a professional giving moving advice, like realtor, how to find an apartment at the best price. I'm just a girl trying to show my process and hopefully help other girls out who want to move to a big city, who have big dreams, because I'm just a regular person too. I'm moving to Los Angeles with no money, no nepotism, no like future career aspects. I'm just moving there as a person trying to figure it out just like everyone else is. And maybe some people don't think that's the smartest idea or like the best decision, but that's just what I'm doing. So if you feel like something is right for you, you should go chase those dreams too. I didn't mean for that last part to come out some motivational speech, like gospel type of thing, but I just feel like if you have a dream and you want to chase it, you could do it. And I'm talking to you guys about these apartments right now. I'm literally looking at my vision board where I put down that I wanted to move to Los Angeles, and now I'm doing it, and it's just the best feeling in the world. Like there's 1,000,001 hurdles in my way currently, and probably will be when I get there, in terms of money, in terms of job, in terms of everything, but I just know everything's gonna work out because I believe in myself, I believe in my dreams, and I believe in what I'm doing. And that's, I feel like, the most important part of everything in life. Even though I'm the most excited in the world to move, I'm also feeling every other emotion on the spectrum. I'm overwhelmed, I'm in disbelief, I'm scared, I'm everything. I have 1,000,001 worries in my head about everything working out, and doubts and everything. So I just like want to tell you that this like whole process, even though it looks so fun and like I'm doing this big thing, obviously it's super exciting, but it is hard and it is stressful. And I want to end this video on a very positive and real note though, that even though things are hard, I feel like they're gonna work out. And yeah, and I hope that if you liked any of the apartments that I looked at and you happen to be moving to Los Angeles too, maybe they'll be helpful for you, or if you're moving to Los Angeles in the future, this video will be helpful for you. Thanks for watching, guys. I know you come here for my thrifting content, but it means a lot that I get to share the rest of my life with you guys as well.